So guys, I've been playing this game for quite some time now, from maxing my first ever account around 10 years ago pre-EOC, to returning to old school of my Clue Scroll Ironman series Hound Hunt, where I've currently sunk well over 4,000 hours into achieving my goal of the Bloodhound pet. But with progress on that series getting slower and slower the further we get into the endgame, I thought it was just about time for a fresh challenge, one that is for sure more restrictive than the last. So with that said guys, I present to you my new series Loglocked, my chunk restricted collection log-locked Ironman account, which I know might sound like a load of waffle, but let me break it down quickly. So essentially, I'm starting out as a hardcore Ironman account restricted to only the spawn chunk until I can tick off an entry into the collection log, which means I can then choose a chunk north, south, east or west to unlock, with the goal of ticking off more collection log slots and therefore unlocking more of the map. So the overall goal of the series is to complete an entry into every single page inside of the collection log, which obviously is going to be a massive challenge when considering some of the bosses that we'll need to face later down the line in the series. Now, after staring at the world map for way too long, I think that I'm going to be starting with these numbers to allow the series to flow and actually make it possible to complete. So once we've managed to unlock 20 chunks of the world map, it will then bump up to 2 collection log entries to unlock a new chunk. At 30 chunks unlocked, it will then be 3 entries, 4 entries after 40 chunks, and finally, when we make our way all the way up until 50 chunks unlocked, it will then take 5 entries into the collection log per chunk for the remainder of the series. And once again, to help with the flow of the series, especially in the very early and late game, every entry into a new log page will grant me 1 bonus chunk, regardless of how many chunks we do currently have unlocked. So just a quick breakdown of the rules before we do dive into the first episode. And like I mentioned earlier, chunks can only be unlocked north, south, east or west of already unlocked chunks. And once a chunk has been unlocked, that means it can be freely teleported to. The only exception to this rule, and again I do think this allows for the series to flow a lot better, is that chunks on the coast can be unlocked and accessed as long as 1. I do currently have the ability to unlock a chunk, and 2. The method to travel to the chunk has already been unlocked as well. So I think that a really good example to showcase this exception would be, say that I already have this port swim chunk unlocked, I could then choose to unlock any chunk that a given boat could sail to. So I could maybe choose to unlock this pest control chunk, or I could even sail over to the Great Corrend instead and start hunting down some log slots inside of Zaya. And I think that's the really great thing about this series. There's so many different routes that I can take, and I really have to be tactical with the chunks that I do choose to unlock, both in terms of actually progressing my account to get ready for those late game challenges, but also I do need to make sure that I do have potential log slots in the chunks that I do choose to unlock. And finally, not so much of a rule here, but something that I thought would be a lot easier overall for the series. And yeah, this might be a little bit tricky to explain, but stick with me here guys. Essentially, underground or above ground areas are automatically fully unlocked, providing that the means to access those areas are inside of a chunk that has already been unlocked. So for example, the entire of the Catacombs of Corrend is unlocked as long as I've already got access to a chunk which has an entrance to the Catacombs. Or actually guys, thinking about it, probably an easy way to put it would be that only the RuneScape surface map requires chunks to progress, but any instances or above/below ground areas do automatically become unlocked, providing they can be accessed from the surface, if that makes sense. So yeah, places like Xanaris, Chambers of Xeric, or any instances inside of a quest can be freely navigated as long as I've made it to them by having the required surface chunks unlocked. But with all that series intro waffle out of the way, I really do hope you guys enjoy this new series. So yeah, if you are excited for the brand new adventure, then a like on the video would be absolutely amazing. And if you are new around here, then a sub to the channel would absolutely make my day as well, so you don't miss out on any future episodes. But without further ado guys, let's get straight into the first episode. And we have arrived. Welcome boys and girls to the first episode of my new series Loglocked. So as you guys just heard from the intro, the concept of the account is a chunk restricted Ironman that progresses through ticking off entries inside of the collection log. And we are going to be starting off this account as a hardcore Ironman, which is a game mode that I've never actually played before, so we are going to see just how long I can hold on to that hardcore status throughout this journey. And as you guys might have already spotted by the account's name, we are continuing on the 52 tradition. And for you guys that are new around the channel, this right here is my Clue Scroll Ironman account that I use for my Hound Hunt series. And before anyone gets worried, that series is going absolutely nowhere, but I felt it was about time to start a new series alongside Hound Hunt, as we are pretty much at the end game now, and episodes are taking longer and longer to come out. And I do want to be as active on my YouTube channel as possible. But yeah, don't worry guys, Clue Seeker is not going anywhere at all. So thanks to the magic of Runelight, it makes it super easy to see where the chunk boundaries are, both in the game and also on the map as well. And so to kick off the series, we are locked to this initial Lumbridge chunk until we do manage to tick off an entry in the collection log. And as you guys might have already been able to spot, I have acquired myself the collection log by walking over to Varrock, but this is the only time that I'm allowing myself to enter a locked chunk. But don't worry, I didn't do anything else other than grab the collection log and then home teleport back to Lumbridge. But anyway, getting into the series now, and after a lot of scouring on the old school wiki, I believe there are only 3 potential log slots that can be achieved inside of this initial chunk. Okay, so first of all, I could luck out to the absolute maximum and acquire myself either the rocky pet by thieving men or the beaver pet by cutting down trees just north of the chunk. But yeah, realistically, that would take a painfully long time. Secondly, I could kill goblins for beginner clues and hope that I do get one of the 3 potential steps that are solvable inside of this first chunk, and then luck out and grab a beginner clue unique. But again, realistically, this would be extremely difficult, as I don't think there's any sources for me to get any food inside of this chunk, and obviously that would mean that I'd lose my hardcore stats instantly, which I really do not want to do. And also, and I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently new accounts can't actually acquire beginner clue uniques for quite a while, but again, not 100% sure about that. And finally, and most realistically I guess, I could just wait around for a random event to spawn, which would give me an item that counts as an entry inside of the collection log. And there we go, so that literally took no time at all. I was just finishing up with the intro, and there is the Frog Princess random event, so I believe we are going to tick off a log slot already. So if I talk to the frog, give it a little kiss, I think we are going to get a frog token here, which there we go, there is our first entry into the collection log already. And you know what, boys and girls, after a little bit of thought, I am actually going to introduce a new rule right here, and I'm going to prevent myself from ticking off any more entries inside of the random events log page until we've unlocked 50 chunks of the world map, as I kind of realized that it'd be really easy just to tick off 20 log slots, and therefore 20 chunks, just by waiting around for random events. So yeah, I will unlock this page a little later down the line in the series, but for now, I think it would take away a lot of the early game fun of the series when we only have a few chunks unlocked. But speaking of unlocking chunks, from acquiring the frog token, we have just snagged ourselves 2 unlockable chunks, one for the collection log entry and one for getting our first ever entry into a new collection log page. And like I said in the intro, chunks can only be unlocked north, south, east or west of already available chunks. So after quite a lot of thought, I think the best 2 chunks to unlock first are going to be this one here south, as that way I do unlock myself a source of food through the shrimp and anchovies, and I do also unlock the giant frogs here in the swamp, which are going to be my next method of ticking off a log entry, which I will talk about a little later. And then next up, I am going to grab myself this northern chunk as well, as part of my early game plan is to make my way over to Varrock. And there we go, only 30 minutes after beginning the series, and we've already entered into our first unlocked chunk. And so first off, I think I am going to stock up on quite a bit of food, so that way I can safely train up my combat stats on the goblins. Hey, and there it is. In the exact same fashion as on my Clue Seeker account, there is the first level of the series. Jeez, what the hell, that was quick. Still on our first invent of shrimps, and there is our first beginner clue bottle already. And unfortunately, we cannot do the first steps. That is going to be a drop clue. So after a few IMs of shrimp fishing, I've just been training up my stats a little bit here at the goblins, and after having to drop around 5 beginner clues, luckily I've just got one where I can do the first step. And like I said earlier, with our current unlocked chunks, I believe there's only 3 steps that we can do. This Hound's one right here, the Bob's Brilliant Axes and Moat step, and also the Talk to the Chef in the Lumbridge Castle step. And for you guys that don't know, beginner clues are a minimum of 1 step long and a maximum of 3 steps long, meaning that I do have a 33% chance of grabbing the casket if I go and do the step right now. But what I think I'm going to do instead is actually try and juggle the clue for a little bit and see if I can pick up one more beginner clue with the first step that I can currently do to give us a much better chance of getting the casket. Oh my god, what am I doing? I did this exact same thing at the start of the Hound Hunt series, but I completely forgot to claim my Ironman armor here. That would have saved me so much food. You guys have no idea how disappointed I am in myself for taking that long to claim my free Ironman armor. Especially as the series, and even more so in the early game I guess, is all about trying to utilize everything that I do have available to me in the limited amount of the map that I do have unlocked. And actually, that segues me pretty nicely to my plan for ticking off my next log slot, because once again, within the 3 chunks that we do have unlocked, there's really not all that much I can do to tick off any entry into any collection log page. But like I mentioned earlier, my saving grace are those level 13 giant frogs which are found inside of the southern chunk that I unlocked, as they do drop both a long bone and a curved bone, which both count towards an entry into the miscellaneous log page. And don't get me wrong guys, killing 400 giant frogs for a long bone, on drop rate of course, with my current stats is going to take me quite a while. But hey, they do also drop beginner clues, and they also do have pretty low defense, which is going to help my combat stats to fly up. And I can already see the comments down in the comments section about this, but just in case you guys didn't know, and honestly I didn't realize this until a few days ago, you can't actually receive any champion scrolls until you've achieved 32 quest points, because one of my original plans was to camp the goblins here in Lumbridge for the 1 in 5k goblin champion scroll, which does actually count as an entry into the log. But obviously with my account's restrictions, there is no way that I can get myself 32 quest points at this stage. So I think we've received about 5 more beginners in total now, and unfortunately we can still only do the first step of one of them. Oh, okay, saying that though, literally about 2 seconds after that last recording, and we do get ourselves an easy clue, and we can do the first step, but unfortunately we don't actually have a spade yet, so I will be keeping this one in the bank for now. So there we go, I think that's just about enough training over at the goblins, so yeah, let's see how long it's going to take me to get that long bone from the giant frogs. Oh my god, no way. I've literally just got here. I mustn't have killed any more than like 30 or 40 giant frogs, and there is the long bone already. So there we go, that is our second entry into the collection log, and yeah, pretty safe to say that some of our Clue Seeker luck has transferred over to this account. But you know what, I'm actually so happy with that, because I had a funny feeling I was going to go really dry of this thing. Just thinking about it more, but that is actually so insane, especially as the giant frogs were taking an absolute age to die due to my current stats. But yeah, that is our second entry into the collection log, and obviously our first entry into the miscellaneous log as well. So you know what that means, guys. It's time to unlock 2 more chunks of the map. Okay, so I've been staring at the map and also having a little peek over at the old school wiki for the best part of an hour now. And honestly, I think my best bet for my next log entry is to try and get myself a new beginner clue unique. But like I said a little earlier in the video, apparently, and this is according to a Sir Pugger video that I watched a few days ago, new accounts can't actually receive beginner clue uniques for quite a while. But the thing is, I'm not too sure it would be defined as a new account. Like, I don't know if it has anything to do with like total level or how long ago the account was created, because this account was actually made for my Trailblazer series, which was about 4 or 5 months ago now. But with that said, we are going to go ahead and unlock these 2 northern chunks here to take us into Varrock, and I can also finally buy myself an upgrade from the weapons shop here. And we do also unlock a couple more potential beginner clue steps to give us a better chance of being able to solve one. Okay guys, so we've encountered a little bit of a problem here, and I was just on my way over to our freshly unlocked Varrock, and I realised I can't actually take the path there because the gap in the fence is inside of a chunk we haven't actually unlocked yet. But luckily, not all hope is lost for our plan, because I realised I can actually take the canoe from the starting chunk to just outside of the Champions Guild here, and also luckily the exit from the canoe is inside of the unlocked chunk. So yeah, thank God for the canoe system, but before I use it, I do have to quickly snag myself level 12 woodcone, which shouldn't take too long. And obviously, when we do start to get ourselves teleports a little later down the line on the account, I can just directly teleport to any unlocked chunks. But yeah, as we are having to walk around everywhere in the early game, getting around will be a little more tricky. Hey, and there we go, there's the 12 woodcone that we need, so it's off to Varrock that we go. And let's just say, guys, that I do have quite a few plans for the canoe system a couple of episodes down the line. So I did just have to quickly sell some of my runes over to the rune shop to afford this, but there we go, there is such a nice weapon upgrade. And I am going to go back over to the goblins in Lumbridge to farm the beginner clues, and obviously we will be killing them so much quicker now. Deary me, guys, what is this dry streak? I don't think I've ever been this dry for a clue before, and it is only a 1 in 65 from a goblin. Okay, so after literally hundreds more goblins dry of a beginner clue, I finally got another one that I can do the first step of. So once I go and do this one over in Varrock, I do have a 66% chance of getting myself a beginner casket. But you never know, I could get the casket on the very first step of this one. And, oh, I'm never lucky, but I could do this step. And unfortunately, that is going to be a drop one. But yeah, we do have another chance over in Varrock to get the casket. And so, like I said, after doing this emote step, we do have a 66% chance of getting the casket. So please, game, please be nice to me. And there we go, our first beginner casket on the account. So I don't think I've ever been so happy to see a beginner casket before in my life. This thing literally took me several hours of juggling. And as a result, we are already up to level 30 attack and strength now. But quickly, before we crack this bad boy open, for you guys that don't know, you do have a 1 in 12 chance of receiving a unique from a beginner casket. And for some reason, the black pickaxe does also count as an entry into the beginner log, so be on the lookout for that. But anyway, that is definitely enough stalling. Let's see, can we get one straight away? And unfortunately, no unique in there. But you know what, guys? As beginner caskets go, that is really not too bad. And yeah, there is actually an upgrade for our plate body slot. So yeah, I'll take that for sure. But yeah, not quite a weapon upgrade, unfortunately. But anyway, it is back to the Lumbridge Goblins that we go. And also, I completely forgot that now we've got Varrock unlocked, I can finally grab myself a spade from upstairs in the general store. So that way I've got slightly more of a chance of completing an easy clue as well. So a few hours of slaughtering goblins later, and after having another look over at the old school wiki, from the chunks that I do currently have unlocked, it looks like I can do around 10% of all easy clue steps, which means on drop rate, for every 10 easy clues that I get from the goblins, I will be able to do the first step of one of them. So at this rate, it is looking a lot more likely that I'm going to get my next unique from a beginner clue and not an easy clue. Okay, so I honestly didn't expect this so fast, but somehow I've just managed to get myself 3 beginner clues, all with first steps that I can do. So we've just got ourselves another guaranteed beginner casket. But you never know, guys, all 3 of these clues could be one-steppers, but not this one apparently. And unfortunately, we don't yet have access to the Barbarian Village, so this one will be dropped. Alright, next up, Hans, come on, please be nice to me. And god damn it, it's gone all the way to the final step. And once again, even though we do have access to some of Varrock, unfortunately, we don't yet have the East Mine chunk unlocked. So I quickly had to go and grab a pair of leather boots from the Lumbridge basement for this emote step, but there we go, there is our second beginner casket on the chunk-locked Ironman. Alright, so no milking it this time, guys. Beginner casket number 2, and oh my god, that is such a sick unique as well. A Jester Cape on 2 beginner clue KC. That is so sick. Oh my god, let's go guys. We've had some crazy luck so far in this first episode. And you know what that means as well? We can now unlock another 2 chunks of the world map thanks to this snazzy new Jester Cape. Oh man, I'm so happy right now, guys. I don't think I've ever been this excited to see a clue unique before in my life. And it's honestly such a cool feeling to know that I've obtained this while only having access to 5 chunks of the world map. But like I said, with that Jester Cape being an entry, and also the first entry into the beginner clue log, this now means that we can choose to unlock another 2 chunks of the world map. And so this decision didn't really take quite as much thinking as our last unlocks, and I am going to go ahead and break this little line of chunks that we've got going on now, and unlock these 2 chunks west of Varrock, and I'm sure you guys will be able to guess the reasoning why. But with all that said, boys and girls, I think that is where I'm going to call it for the pilot episode of Vlog Locked. And honestly, I really do hope you guys have had as much fun watching as I've had making this first episode. So if you have, and you haven't yet, then a big old like on the video would be absolutely amazing, and it would really help me out. And also, if you are new around the channel, then a sub to the channel would really make my day as well. But before we do go for today, I do just want to give a quick end of video shout out to my main men Max, Stashes and Mandeep for all helping me out with the concept of the series, and also just for being all around legends, so thank you guys so much. And as always guys, until next time, stay safe and I'll see you very soon.